And here we go. All right. Welcome, one and all, to the one and the only Junk Shop Library channel. Home sometimes of improv Bible study, but right now of Mental Health Wednesdays, which may be on Wednesdays, used to be on Thursdays, and may soon be moving to Tuesdays. Who bloody knows? But at any rate, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you are all here. We've got just a couple of people in the chat today. So good to see all of y'all. Y'all usual suspects, fans, and supporters. It's so good to see you. Before we get off the ground, I've got to thank my amazing patrons. You see their names scrolling here at the... Wow, it's level. Flat, but not level. Pardon me. Scrolling here at the bottom of your screen, these are the folks who have seen it in their hearts and found room in their pocketbooks to support the channel in a monetary fashion over at patreon.com/junkshoplibrary. So, friends, neighbors, acquaintances, and others, an enormous thank you to Brainbug, to Mark Caesar, to Paul Camish, to Kim, to Linda, to MathPig, and to Mama Atheist. To new patron Rain, welcome aboard, my friend. And, of course, to Santy the Sane, last but not least, and only last because of alphabetical order. Alrighty. I am so glad I'm not trying to pull a no illusion and do that all in one breath, because old Junk Shop smokes too much and doesn't exercise enough to get all that mess out. All right. Well, anyway, welcome everybody, and hello to Julie LaVoice. Always good to see you, my love. Welcome. Ricardo's nerding out in the chat over here, and I love it. All right. Well, today's top... Why am I wearing these? I'm not talking to anybody. All I'm doing is muffling my beautiful voice. No, I tell you what I'm muffling is the noise of that fish tank. I'm going to keep them on. Y'all have to suffer from it. I don't. Y'all, why y'all put up with me sometimes is an absolute mystery, but I love you for it. Thank you one and thank you all. Oh, and Paul Camish. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. I've got the infamous Junk Shop lag in the chat, and it's confusing me because sometimes things come in real time and sometimes they don't. Friend from across the pond. Good to see you, as always. And Paul was my first patron. Alrighty. Well, today's mental health stream's topic, because I got a little bit lazy and a little bit lost and confused in my own head, and so didn't set up a poll over on Patreon like I normally do, was suggested by one of my patrons. So we're going to talk about what, for lack of a better term, I'm calling self-harm. Oh, Ricardo. Yeah, I know. I saw the how thread over there. I'm just giving you grief, my friend. And Mama Atheist snuck in. Hello, Amanda. Good to see you, as always. What, for lack of a better term, today's topic is what I'm going to call self-harm adjacent behaviors. That is, those things that most people may not necessarily think of as self-harm, but which are either considered by the medical community writ large to be versions of self-harm, or behaviors which are, for lack of a better term, comorbid with more stereotypical versions of self-harm. Before we get into it, something I should have said a little bit earlier, this stream is not for children. I'm not going to tag it as 18 and up, but it's definitely not for kids. We are going to talk about some pretty rough topics here. If you are a minor, there is mental health content out there geared more toward your age bracket, and I encourage you to seek it out, as well as actual professional help, which none of us on YouTube are qualified to provide, at least that I'm aware of. Ah, a cup of tea and a cigarette. Sounds lovely. I'm on my coffee and my cigarette. Caffeine, caffeine. All right. One of... Good Lord, Mama, that accelerated quickly. Okay. One of the behaviors, I've done all my disclaimers, right? Not for children, not necessarily for over 18, but definitely not for children. I think that's... Oh, and of course, content warning, if you are a sufferer from... If you are battling self-harm, this may not be the stream for you, just because you may never know what's going to set you off. And trust me, I know. All right. So one of the behaviors which is often seen in conjunction with more, for lack of a better term, please don't start doing a shot every time Old Junk Shop says, for lack of a better term. You'll be wasted by the end of the stream. But, what, for lack of a better term, I got lost in that sentence. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been kind of stressing about this stream. Hey, GeoSam, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. I didn't see your infamous eyeballs pop up in the chat. You're slacking off, buddy. Either that or I just missed it. Brainbug, I am so glad I know you a little bit, because otherwise, weird. I know what I'm doing. I'm postponing the topic by any means necessary. There we go. Eyeballs. All right. The particular self-harm adjacent behavior that was asked of me to cover is fortunately one that I do have a little bit of experience with, which goes by the elaborate name Trichitillomania, which is a fancy and medical term for hair plucking, which, if you don't know, is, believe it or not, a real honest-to-God thing. It's just yanking out hairs, usually one by one, though it can be greater than that. Usually in times of stress, though, let's face it, if you're suffering from mental illness or battling self-harm or both, you've likely got more times of stress than not. Oh, hey, Kim, welcome. Yes, definitely misused. That term is specific to hair pulling out. Um, just because it does derive from either the Latin or the Greek from hair trick it anyway. Mm. Hey, MathPig, good to see you. I know I saw you way up at the top. Cleaning the car with the toddler. I bet that's an adventure. Paul. Well, yes, so do a lot of us. Pluck nose hair. Um, but that's more of a grooming behavior than a compulsive thing. Um, I remember when I started doing the the compulsive hair plucking. I was doing it on the backs of my hands. It it looks like I do that all the time and to a great extent now, but no, it's just that I shave there now, largely related to some weird hair related dysphoria, which is not a topic for this stream, but which we might be good to touch on in another one. Message me, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter. Hey, Wonder Lady Faye, good to see you, my friend. Welcome. Um, it was during anyway the plucking. It was during a time of some fairly intense mental stress, and just a little pop, 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 little bit of pain, little bit of pain, little bit of pain, no damage whatsoever. I found weirdly therapeutic. Um, Eventually, that started getting out of control. I was doing it all the time, even when there was other people around, and that's when I shaved the backs of my hands for the first time. Then one day, my driving instructor asked me if I was a competitive swimmer, and I, for some reason, found it necessary to explain to him exactly why. Thankfully, that was on the last day of the course. Oh dear. MathPig, you put a toddler in charge of the hose? You're going to be... Lord have mercy. I don't even have a toddler, and I know that may have been a dicey proposition. All right. So, Trichitillomania is specific to hair picking, hair pulling. I'm certain there is a technical term for just, as Kim noted earlier in the chat, just picking at oneself. But I don't know what it is off the top of my head, and I didn't think to look it up for the stream. Junk Shop comes prepared. Oh dear, I see myself glitching out. Okay, I'm going to kill the camera real quick and see if that helps with the junk shopping. Hello, computer. Such a bad movie, and yet I quote it all the damn time. All right, let's see if that works. I clicked on the button. I promise I did. There we go. I'm going to have to put up a more current avatar one of these days, aren't I? All right. Pardon me. Cover your cough, y'all. The Rona's still out there. if I'd been through books and half of them were missing and know where it is, Ricardo, no, that is specific to the pulling and plucking of hair. I'm sure it's something long and elaborate and cobbled together from a little bit of Latin and a little bit of Greek, as is the case with most, or at least with a lot of health terms, the term for picking at oneself. Yeah, Mama, I saw myself junk shopping. How's the audio coming through, y'all? Is it coming through all right? Now that I'm down to just audio, no video, it's impossible for me to tell on my side. Hey, Santy the Sane in the house. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you, as always. And the picking at oneself, that can take a multitude of forms. That can be just absently scratching at oneself when one doesn't actually have an itch, and that can go all the way up to what's referred to in the literature as interfering with wound healing, which is where, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. Whether it's a self-harm generated injury that you then refuse to let heal properly, compulsively, or whether you've got, an accidental injury that you foots with and fuck with and won't generally leave the fuck alone. Excoriation disorder, says Julie LaVoice in the chat. Wow. I did not. I never heard of that particular term, but that makes absolutely perfect sense. Thank you for researching, my dear. I can't do anything simultaneous to streaming, y'all know. Yet another reason I'm so appreciative of my fantabulous patrons, because the contributions they make over on Patreon is going into a vault to be to help us with some hardware upgrades here in the library, because we're about one long step up from just shouting down a couple of tin cans with a string between them, unfortunately. Yeah, Kim's exactly right. Nobody here has ever compulsively picked off scabs. No, absolutely not. There's also, there's tearing your nails off too short. There's all kinds of ways one can interfere with the normal functioning of the body. The interesting thing about it is that a lot of people fall back on it's kind of a vicious cycle thing, and I can speak to this for experience. Did I say for experience? I meant from experience. And I'm literally doing it now because I just found a couple of hairs on the back of my hand that I missed, and I find myself plucking. Okay, glad I wasn't on camera for that mess. Okay. Thank you, Amiga Nuts. Shilling everybody in the chat. Everybody make sure you're subscribed to everybody else. Y'all know we're all about the building of the community here in the library. We want everybody to be connected. So what was I talking about? The vicious cycle. A lot of people, and I've done it myself, fall back on the self-harm adjacent behaviors during times when they're trying to cut back on or cease the actual, not actual, the more dramatic forms of self-harm. The problem with that can be that if you're used to the more dramatic forms of self-harm, the the minor forms can sometimes feel insufficient, and then you find yourself accelerating up through them, and then before you know it, you're back to the more dramatic forms, and it's they call it a vicious cycle for a reason. It's a mean spirited little phenomenon. It just is. There is some disagreement, or was the last time I read in the professional literature, which I must admit has been a little bit of time ago. Some disagreement in the professional mental health community as to these they term considered uh, that's an excellent point, and I'm not going to throw it up on the screen for fear, only for fear that it would end up in an auto-generated thumbnail. Yeah, thank you, MathPig, for the reminder. Yeah, we'll be well gone out of here before it's time for Dave's birthday bash. Don't worry. Y'all know me. This stream isn't going to last that long because of computer issues, if nothing else. There's also the fact that the mental health streams are a little draining on old junk shop spoon reservoir, and I just can't keep going very long. What was I talking about? Disagreement in the professional community. There are those that say that any behavior that interferes with the body's normal functioning, that's not, like normal amounts of exercise. Because actually, compulsive or excessive exercise is actually held by some professionals to be a self-harm adjacent behavior, or even a form of self-harm or self-harm replacement, because because you can't exercise too much. You can exercise so much that you do yourself a mischief. But anyway, there are those that hold that anything that does anything abnormal, excessive, straining, draining, etc. to the body, is to be, by definition, considered self-harm. And then there are those that take a little more liberal view of it, and of course, if there's disagreement in the professional community, there is virulent disagreement in the amateur in the layperson community. Back when I was actively self-harming, and when I was at my worst with it, I was involved in several quote unquote support communities over on LiveJournal. Anybody remember LiveJournal? Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. And oh my lord, did people get into fights over whose behaviors counted as good enough self-harm and whose didn't, what qualified, who really deserved to be there and really needed support. It was a It was a fucking nightmare, is what it was. There were corners of some of those discussion groups and communities that were just absolutely toxic. I mean, as bad as or worse than Twitter today. And God Almighty, that's go some, isn't it? But if you were ever in some of those discussion groups on LiveJournal, you knew how vicious and internecine they could become. Oh yeah, LiveJournal's still there. Um, it's still there, and as far as I can tell, still pretty damn active. Thankfully, thankfully, mine is long since abandoned and closed, and was privatized before I lost access to the email address that allowed me to get into it. So, Brainbug says it sounds potentially more harmful than helpful. It could be, and at times it definitely was. And there were some of those, like I said, quote unquote support groups that were very toxic. And there were some that were very helpful and very, very supportive. And it was really a coin toss when you entered one as to whether it was going to be a let's compare pictures and see whose is better and who really needs the most support here, and which one was going to be a, you know, everybody is valid, everybody is loved, and you deserve all the safe hugs and all the support and all the, you know, all the everything. Not a word base. Decent behavior. A cigarette. Who have thought that holds a smoke? At least a mouth fiddly dee. Okay, I'm gonna reload and see if that helps. Y'all bear with me. All right, how's that? Is that any better? I know I know my time on camera is going to be limited, but at least I'm back, and y'all can see my lovely smiling face here for a couple of minutes at least before I start junk shopping again. Much. Okay, thank you, Dave. Good. Oh, yes. Kim, exactly. The sunburn skin removal. Like, makes you feel like a snake shedding an old skin. One of the reasons I try pretty hard not to get sunburned anymore, because of that. A wee bit of junk shopping, says Mama Atheist. Okay, well, let me know if it becomes a mucho bit of junk shopping. I'll kill the video, and I think we're likely going to be wrapping up here before long anyway, because we've been going right at half an hour, and I'm kind of running out of topic. I will of course, as always, take questions, comments, concerns from the chat. Oh, you go to hell, Brain Bug. Yeah, we got turned down. Apparently, it's not widespread enough a known term to be picked up by the Urban Dictionary.
Spread it around. Spread it around.
Hey, Joan, welcome. Better late than never, my friend. Have no fear. Have no worries. It is Stuttering Chris in the house. Christopher, my friend, long time no see. Welcome. Did I? Oh, did I really? That's awesome. We were in quite a tight race for a while there, my friend. You need to step up your game. Somebody make sure and drop Stuttering Chris's links in the chat. He needs more subscribers and puts out excellent content. And make sure you check him out over on TikTok. He has figured out some editing brilliance over on TikTok that a lot of real life filmmakers should take note of. And I am not blowing smoke up your ass. I love that one of the monster in the house. That was his. I thought I was never going to stop laughing. Okay, so, quick. Oh, that's awesome, Paul. I love it, and not just because it strokes my ego. All right. I'm going to take a few minutes to take questions, comments, concerns, disputations, allegations from the chat, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. I don't want this to just go on forever, especially if it's just me rambling. Now that I've sort of run out of specific topics, I know I have to wait a couple of minutes for the live chat to feed through into StreamYard. One of many things that once I finally figure out friggin' OBS will not be as much of a problem anymore. But for now, that's just something we have to deal with. So let's see. What shall I say? Wow, this. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to lock this chair into place or something. The evils of the swivel chair is something that I discovered very, very young, and now I've got a good one that swivels quite well, and I'm even distracting myself. All right, so what should I talk about? I should shill myself is what I should do. Just so y'all know, I know some of y'all are specifically here for the mental health content, so you can just sort of mentally tune out for a second, but we will be back with Improv Bible Study on Monday at 2 o'clock Central. That's 3 o'clock Eastern. That's 6 o'clock UK. That's 7 o'clock Denmark. Wow, Junk Shop's learning time zones. Junk Shop's learning time zones. And we're still stuck in First Chronicles, y'all, but we'll get out of it eventually. We're willing and the creek don't rise. All right, we got a question from the lovely Julie LaVoice. Pop it up a little bigger so I can make sure and read it. When I find myself doing self-harm adjacent behaviors, I get anxiety about how to walk it back before it gets too bad. Thoughts? I understand that very well. Because it's very easy to fall at least into the thought pattern that leads to that vicious spiral that I was talking about earlier. there's the old tricks that I never found work too well about wearing a rubber band or a hair tie around your wrist and snapping it to distract yourself. It gives you a little ping of pain and a little ping of various brain chemicals. But I never found that to be particularly useful. Some people do, and the people who do swear by it, so it's worth a shot. Um, it's honestly, it's the thing that I've found is just to actively do something else is the best thing that works. If I find myself plucking at my hair or my skin or my scalp or whatever, once I notice myself doing it, if I just focus on something else and do that, whether that's karaoke, whether that's a video game, whether that's washing dishes, whether that's, it can be just, much as I hate to quote everybody's grandma, idle hands are the devil's workshop. And if you, hell, you can, oh boy, I'm junk shopping enough to where I can see it. All right, stop cam. It can even, you can even just fucking go masturbate. Really, anything that takes your mind off of the impulse you're having at the moment. I've found is a good personally. I found is a good way to break out of the headspace that you're in that has led to that. Kim says, let me see if I can pull this up here. My chat's froze. No. I've also been told to cover my fingers with, but that doesn't, is not anything else. Or sometimes realizing what you're doing can be the hardest part of it, because sometimes you get lost down that rabbit hole. Pardon me. Somebody asked a minute ago, I think it was Ricardo, if I had notes or if this was just all freestyling. This is all freestyling, which is why it's the wonderfully outlined and coherent presentation that it is. Aunt Jur bringing the ice cube trick. Yes, I had forgotten about that. That is, that's a good one. I've heard about the really spicy foods thing, but I've never tried it because I love spicy food. And I don't want to associate it in my head with bad emotions or bad mental states. So I've never tried that as a replacement thing for that. But the ice cube thing, yeah, that can work. Because that starts to hurt real bad, real fast. And if it's just the pain that you're after, that is a good way to get a little charge of pain without doing any damage. As long as you don't hold on to it too fucking long. Which, let's face it, is damn near impossible. Julie says she was told to wear gloves, but then can't type or do other useful things. And that's an excellent point. A replacement behavior or technique is only useful or helpful insofar as it doesn't interfere with the rest of your life. Ricardo. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I missed the next thing you typed. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Sorry, the chat thing is so unpredictable. So, I swear, sometimes it just drops things altogether. StreamYards has its advantages, but it's got some disadvantages too. So, thank you for that, my friend. Oh yeah, and then Julie points out, yeah, we're in Memphis, so yeah, not gonna wear gloves in the summer. 98 degrees with 98% humidity. My God. Um. All right. Well, we're coming up on the 45-minute mark. Amiga Nuts dropping everybody's links in the chat. Thank you as always so much, my friend. You are the best. You are the Schiller extraordinaire. Um, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna stall rather a couple more minutes. See if any more questions trickle through into my marvelous chat interface. And then I think we're gonna wrap it up around about the 45-minute mark. Thank you all so much for coming. I really do appreciate y'all being here. I am looking very intently and gesturing sincerely into the camera, despite the fact that I turned off the camera and I damn know about it. Aunt Drew suggests Madonna-style fishnet gloves. Well, as awesome look as that is, kind of defeats the purpose of covering up the fingers, doesn't it? I mean, it's an interesting thought, but yeah. Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here. Y'all know how much I've been struggling to get this stream off the ground, and have yet to find a time that really consistently works for everybody. I know a lot of people have freed up their Wednesdays today because of MathPig stream later. Aha! Somebody make sure and drop that link again in the chat. I saw MathPig do it earlier, but that was a while back. Somebody drop that again if you don't mind. Julie points out the effectiveness of acrylic fingernails, which are too dull to do any damage. That's a good point. I tell you, when I was back, I wish I'd known about that trick back in my back in my active self-harm days, though I was still trying so hard to pass for cis-het male that I don't think I would have been able to get away with acrylic nails. B has suggested we're at the fantastic. Can you drop that? B, at least the ones most of. Let me know, and I'll try to time trying to do 9 o'clock over in the UK. I'm sorry, GeoSam. It's when I was a kid. I thought it was the most awesome look I'd ever seen in my life. Brainbug says, "Who is this MathPig everyone keeps talking about?" Oh, I don't know. Amanda keeps talking about some dude in what is it? Scotland? Somewhere over there. Y'all can't see the face I'm making, I just realized. once again, thank you so much for being here. Looks like we're going to wrap up right on schedule. I do want to thank yet again my fantastic patrons, Brainbug, Mark, Caesar, Paul Camish, Kim, Linda, MathPig, Mama Atheist, new patron Rain, and Santy the Sane. So good to see so many of y'all in the chat. Um, I I appreciate each and every one of you so very, very much. And I appreciate my non-patron friends as well. Do not think for a minute that you are less valued than my patrons. I just really do have to shout them out specifically by name because I promised them that I would. And also just because it's polite. Hey, Linda. Oh, dear. Aunt Jura's trying to start a fight. Not a fight that I tried to start. No, no, no. There's absolutely no reason for that comment to come out of thin air. And a bit of tea and Danish in the chat. Hello, my friend. Good to see you, even if it is right as we're about to click end broadcast. Always good to see you. All right, so we're gonna wrap here. Thank y'all again. This was kind of a rough one to do. I had to reach back into some uncomfortable boxes in my head, but y'all's presence really did help make it less stressful and less painful. So thank you. So yeah, we're going to try to make sure we keep this going, mental health streams, once a week at some reliable time when we figure out when that is. And improv Bible study reliably on Mondays, sometimes Mondays and Wednesdays. I'd like to do it twice a week, but I'm really having trouble nailing down a good time to do it that second time. And I know some of y'all ain't here for that, and that's just perfectly fine. I'm trying to vary the channel out a little bit so that I can appeal to all my friends, neighbors, and such. All right, we're gonna kill it here for the squillionth time. Thank you all so much for coming. We will see you again here soon, and until we reconvene, as we always say, everybody take care. Be safe. Fight against